what is much more serious than people realize. Ocean acidification. Soon the water will be too acidic for the tiniest most numerous animals to make shells out of calcium. Coral reefs will all melt away. The largest and most complex food chain on our planet will start breaking down. You think the disappearance of bees is bad? Wait till we feel the effects of a dead ocean. Distracted driving. That other shit can wait, or you can get the fuck off the road for a minute. Nice to see so much agreement. I'm on a bike more than I'm in a car, and I see everybody messing with their phones. And even at red lights, it's important to keep your eyes on the road to see pedestrians and cyclists or whatever else may be happening when you drop the phone and punch the gas. Unless you're parked, you need to be attentively operating that potentially deadly vehicle at all times.
Hey guys, much like you, I love reading people's stories on Ask Reddit. Unfortunately, there's a lot of weird middle school level, just thought experiment type hypotheticals like nice try Baskin Robbins. I don't find this compelling, so that's why I've made it my mission to trawl and crawl through Ask Reddit and find the very best content and put it in your ears. That's why I'm begging you, like and subscribe. If there's anything I can do to help you out, give you the kind of content that you crave to help you get through your workday, let me know in a comment. But please like and subscribe.
I knew I'd be at work a lot, so I got an older, small dog that I knew would require less attention than a puppy or a young, energetic or large dog. He's freaking awesome. He's got the cats to hang out with all day, then I come home and we go outside together for a while, and he sleeps on the bed with me at night. On my days off, we take long, slow walks around a nearby lake. Point is, there are dogs for all lifestyles, and there might just be a dog for you one day. So many pictures. Here's Roscoe after being groomed chilling on a walk and being sniffed by a foal. And bonus cat pictures, my princess, Chip, and my chill big dude, Homer. I want a dog so much. I love the little fuckers, every one. But goddammit, I think about owning one and think about being at work all day and leaving it alone in my apartment, and I just can't handle the idea and don't get a dog. Seems way too cruel, and I don't know how people do it. Safety measures when using power tools. No, sunglasses are not the same as eye protection when you're using a chainsaw. They're not just for dust and grit, they're there so if the chain snapped it doesn't embed itself in your fucking face. No, you cannot run the sander on your skin cause you're curious what it feels like. It feels like ripped off skin. No, you cannot keep a loose grip on the drill. Its whole job is to accelerate pointy bits of metal to what I like to call murder speed. Bottom line, if it has a fucking engine in it, treat it with respect, read all the rules, and follow them because it is fucking dangerous. And the real scary thing is that you don't feel anything wrong until shit really starts going wrong. Hell, I feel better when my blood sugar is high, because that is what my body is used to. But in the long term it would kill me. You could easily ignore it until you start losing your sight, or feeling in your feet, or other irreversible damage. By then it is too late to fix. Irritable bowel syndrome, hemorrhoids. Ever had a shit that felt like hot lava bubbling out of your ass, coupled with the feeling that you are passing glass shards as well, and are unable to pass gas due to the fear that it will tear your anus? That's exactly what most people suffering from these two conditions feel like. I mean, people believe that the time in the bathroom on the john is probably one of the best times of the day when they can relax and be completely at peace. I envy these people. People who do not have to deal with the pain and fear associated with suffering from these two monstrosities. And God forbid you have skipped on the fiber in your diet, or had too less water, or consumed too much alcohol or meat, you are unfit the next morning. This pain, combined with the inability to pass motion without straining so hard that the vessels around your anus swell to such a size that you can actually feel the swelling, is something I would never wish even on my worst enemy, ever. And this is just while shitting. No one tells you about the constant pain you have to endure for the rest of the day, the inability to stand, or walk, or sit in one place for more than a few minutes. The inability to even want to go about your day normally when you know that if you do not alter your intake at all today, you are in for another one of these sessions the next morning. IBS hemorrhoids is not fun, and is very, very serious. If you are having trouble passing stool, or have to always exert extra pressure while doing it and then end up with a dull pain in your anus all day long, visit your doctor. This could very well just be the beginning of it. Okay, so I am not the lone sufferer from this monstrosity. Glad to know. For reference, I was diagnosed with IBS and hemorrhoids about a year ago. Since then I have sufficiently upped my fiber intake, not Metamucil. I just have more veggies, oatmeal, quinoa, stick to olive oil, prunes have become a part of the daily diet, lots of water, I drink about 7-9 liters every day, have a lot of fruit in the diet, and have completely cut out any refined stuff. I'm looking at you, bread, you evil monster, and deep-fried BS posts a night out now is also a no-no. I go for a single scoop of ice cream instead of a pizza now on late nights. For people who have asked how it's going and have recommended some suggestions, I am now devoid of pain when I use the John in the morning. The only instance when it ever causes an issue is when I do heavy drinking late into the night before and do not balance it out with water. Hemorrhoid pain, hangover, no, or have excessively large amounts of meat without balancing it out with vig. Although, in these cases now the pain is very much manageable and wiping after the job is done is not a hellish nightmare anymore. Also, my doctor informed me that losing some weight would help to reduce the stress on the vessels around my anal sphincter, and I am glad I listened to her. The weight loss has significantly improved my comfort levels in the morning. Regarding the suggestions offered here, all excellent ones, I have put them in a list for hemorrhoid sufferers to save you the trouble of going through all the comments. 1. Fiber in the diet. If you are taking Metamucil, have copious amounts of water every day. If not, you will get constipated and will be in for even worse hell than you are already in. Other good sources of fiber are whole sprouted beans, carrots, lettuce, celery, cabbage, corn, tomatoes, olives, prunes, dates, basically everything you would find in a green salad. 2. Water. This should really be a no-brainer. You must drink a copious amount of water every day. Not only does it help you stay hydrated, it also makes your stool softer and much easier to pass the next morning. 3. Exercise. I do not exactly know how this helped in my case, but it makes the muscles in and around your rectal muscles better conditioned and they relax easily, rather than constricting while you need to pass stool. 4. Probiotics. Also a good idea, but beware of the unnatural amount of quite putrid-smelling gas you will have after regular use. If you work in a closed office environment, this option is not viable for you, unless you don't mind the stench. 5. Less processed food, bread and cheese. 2 big baddies, 2 things you should avoid if you want to have any peace while passing stool. And while we are at it, if you have IBS, stay the fuck away from McDonald's, Wendy's, Subway, Jimmy John's, Starbucks, Penn Station subs, In-N-Out, Five Guys, basically any place where the food is excessively processed. Cook your own food at home. Sure, it may be time-consuming and may cost you a little extra in the long run. You will thank yourself later. 6. Less meat. This one should also be a no-brainer. If you know you are in for a meal of only meat, campfires, barbecue pit days, tailgating events, preempt it. Start upping your fiber intake 24 hours earlier. Your system will consequently be thankful to you no matter how much meat you consume. Plus, eating the green leafy veggies is not just for vegetarians anymore. If you have IBS, start eating the veggies more and the lean meats, more fish, chicken, and cut out red meat completely. No beef, pork, mutton, lamb at all. 7. Using a height differential when you poop a stool works very well. Forgot to mention that this is how I poop now and it has genuinely been a great help. Not only is it more comfortable, but I also do not find myself straining too hard for the poop to come out. 8. Fiber pills. Not quite sure how these work. Haven't taken any myself, but from the comments it seems to be a popular alternative to changing your entire diet. 9. Psyllium husk taken as a supplement with water and has the same effect as Metamucil of providing bulk, i.e. insoluble fiber. Works wonders according to comments that people have mentioned below. Definitely worth a shot. 10. The nighttime itching cure. Apply a coat of castor oil. It is a relatively more viscous oil than anything else out there, and it coats over the hemorrhoid to give you relief, since it essentially stops the hemorrhoid from rubbing against other skin and prevents any irritation. The bottle of castor oil comes with an applicator, and it has always provided me with much needed comfort when most required. Although the side effect is it does stain any article of clothing, which is then impossible to remove, so be prepared to throw away your night clothes and sheets if you are using castor oil. Edit 2. I have been gilded. Do not know what to do with it, but thank you Reddit gods. Social hysteria every week. The news and internet are buzzing with some new outrage. Everyone's mad, but no one can clearly define why. Critical thinking and questioning is going out the window. Large groups of pissed off people are never any good. Highest comment spawns a MIB discussion. This is why I love Reddit. I work in an animal shelter. We get owners surrendering dogs for the stupidest reasons. We didn't realize she'd get so big. Her nails scratch our hardwood floors. He was cute when he was a puppy, but now he's kind of ugly. These are all things I have actually heard people say. It's infuriating and disheartening. The best analogy comparison I have heard about depression is that it's like a mental sunburn. When you have a sunburn and every normal thing that happens to you every day is just too much, like touching, moving, or sleeping. The littlest things that wouldn't bother anyone without the sunburn are sometimes excruciating. With depression, everyday thoughts, interactions, decisions, and feelings can be too much. Too painful, too exhausting. If you do something as normal as touch my sunburnt shoulder, I might cry, just like if you do something as normal as starting an everyday conversation with me and my sunburnt depressed brain, I might cry. For seemingly zero reason. I heard this comparison years ago by a soap opera star on Oprah, in all places, and I don't know if I articulated it well here or not, and felt like someone had just described exactly what I felt like but never knew the words to say.
I turned 36 this year, and I decided to focus on my physical fitness, so I bought a swim club membership. The only problem was, most of the time when I go swimming, I wind up getting an ear infection. So it turns out that normal earplugs, they kind of irritate your ear canal, they don't really work, they don't keep the water out, but there is an amazing kind of earplug. It's called Mack's Pillow Soft Silicone earplugs that, they feel great, they keep the water out 100%, they're reusable, and they don't irritate your ear canal at all, no issues. If you've ever had a severe ear infection, you don't want to experience that again. It can permanently damage your hearing if you're unlucky. So investing in these earplugs is definitely a good idea. Also, when my baby was crying later this year and I could not get to sleep, I used the same earplugs and they worked great. I was able to sleep right next to a crying baby. So be sure to click my affiliate link and purchase some of these Mack's earplugs today.
How much the media is spreading studies and lab tests that were done incorrectly. Almost every time you see studies show on the Today Show, you are about to hear straight lies. The scientists conducting these experiments have used false test results, small sample sizes, and sometimes don't use a control, resulting in unreliable data. It seems these days everything causes cancer and cures it because of this shit. Antibiotic use in cattle is absurd and is mostly to blame for this. It's not that the use is directly affecting humans. It's that the overuse of antibiotics leads to antibiotic resistance in microorganisms in these animals. MRSA, VRSA, Google any of those and you can learn more. Also, there are a couple PBS documentaries that talk about the lack of financial benefit from pharmaceutical companies to produce new antibiotics. It's not good. I was unaware I was a type 1 diabetic until I almost died. I didn't know it, but I was sleeping 17 hours a day, barely eating, and drinking gallons of water. After going to a doctor, was misdiagnosed, and was on the verge of death. Eventually, I was checked into to the emergency pediatric care and survived after a few weeks. If you are feeling tired always, drinking too much water, or just feel terrible, get yourself tested before it's too late. Please. I'm doing my best to answer your questions. I know what it feels like to go through weird changes with your body and health alone. I'm here for you, so fire away. I was given some suggestions to put in as more symptoms, so here you go. Feeling very thirsty, urinating more frequently than usual, particularly at night, feeling very tired, weight loss and loss of muscle bulk, itching around the genital area, or regular bouts of thrush, a yeast infection, blurred vision caused by the lens of your eye changing shape, slow healing of cuts and grays, extreme irritability, black mold forming on toilet. Also, drinking a lot of water isn't always bad. It's when combined with the insatiable thirst, or the non-stop desire, that makes it bad. And always better to be safe than sorry. See a doctor. Final, I was misdiagnosed as a type 2 due to my former weight. If you think should I get tested again, the answer is yes. Glad to hear survivor stories, sad to hear of those who passed away. Be smart. Stay safe. I owned a terminally stupid beagle named Max. I once got a call from my neighbor asking me if I'd come get him because he was trying to teach the lambs how to play fetch and crying when they wouldn't play. He smelled amazing when we got him home. Short-term stress is okay. It increases productivity and such. The real problem is long-term stress. It affects life expectancy while impacting your cardiovascular system and more. To expand my point a bit, stress also can cause depression. It affects the immune system, which makes you more vulnerable to colds and such. It can also speed up the process of cancer cell growth. Not to mention the negative impacts it leads on your social life. So, take it easy guys. Try a mentally retarded border collie. Endless energy, but has to be put into a run at night, or he turns up at someone else's property away overnight or during a thunderstorm. Also runs into shit calls he doesn't look where he's going and gives you a look like it's your fault. This asshole right here. I don't understand, and I've been living here my whole life. I'm reminded of this quote. Socialism never took root in America because the poor see themselves not as an exploited proletariat, but as temporarily embarrassed millionaires. I think there are people who believe that they have more in common with Trump than they really do, and they are willing to excuse his flaws because they think they can trust him. And of course he is good at feeding their fear and anger. Lots of similarities to October 2nd, 2020 for Germany in that way. I figured this out firsthand after about a year of depression. It's a bitch having to relearn things that used to come as naturally as wiping your ass. If I can do it, anyone can. I was in the throes of amphetamine psychosis a year ago. During this time I was gaslighted for several months. This affords you a particularly fucked up brand of trust issues and sociability. I'm doing just fine now. Fuck drugs. There are some issues with scientific work currently due to the publish or perish dynamic, but you're overstating it and getting the problem backwards. The media is the primary source of the problem. A study might say something highly specific like small amounts of red wine may increase longevity in rats. It then goes through a chain of people for some media organization like this. Small amounts of red wine may make rats live longer. Red wine may make rats live longer. Red wine makes rats live longer. Red wine makes you live longer. Morning news station. Drink up, ladies. The scientist isn't the one misreporting it. Most studies are misreported on. You aren't going to find those false facts in that paper, or they're at least going to have a lot more context and nuance to them. Driving in general, but tailgating is another one people dismiss way too easily. Tailgating is a terrible, dangerous habit that makes traffic worse. You don't go any faster on the bumper. It only puts you in a position where you either overbrake slowing traffic flow or get in an accident slowing traffic flow and possibly killing injuring someone. One other small note on what I'm seeing in the comments. Part of the reason you leave that space is for people to change lanes and move around. People need to change lanes for traffic to flow. As long as they aren't going slower than you when they move over, they're doing it right. One more point I'm seeing a lot: the worst people on the road to tailgate are the ones going under the speed limit, especially in left lanes. As you're probably yelling at them learn to drive, you are well aware they don't know what they're doing. They're generally lost or terrified and are the most likely people to lock up their brakes for no reason. Again, tailgating doesn't change your speed or theirs. It accomplishes absolutely nothing other than putting yourself and those around you in danger.
I turned 36 this year, and I decided to focus on my physical fitness, so I bought a swim club membership. The only problem was, most of the time when I go swimming, I wind up getting an ear infection. So it turns out that normal earplugs, they kind of irritate your ear canal, they don't really work, they don't keep the water out. But there is an amazing kind of earplug called Mack's Pillow Soft Silicone earplugs that, they feel great, they keep the water out 100%, they're reusable, and they don't irritate your ear canal at all, no issues. If you've ever had a severe ear infection, you don't want to experience that again. It can permanently damage your hearing if you're unlucky. So investing in these earplugs is definitely a good idea. Also, when my baby was crying later this year and I could not get to sleep, I used the same earplugs and they worked great. I was able to sleep right next to a crying baby. So be sure to click my affiliate link and purchase some of these Mack's earplugs today.
Female on male hitting. My partner had a girlfriend in high school who did a lot of slapping and name calling, and it took years before it finally sank in that it wasn't okay. Sometimes I think it might have messed with him more than he realizes, since he seems to expect me to explode at the drop of a hat. It honestly breaks my heart. When you have a real emotional connection with the dog, getting up to walk it at 5:30 a.m. in the morning becomes a lot easier, and all the difficulties don't seem so bad. I'm not saying get a dog or having a dog is easy, it's not. He costs over $1,000 in medical a year. Doing it right is truly rewarding though. Did the math. Costs a little less than I originally thought. Social media and one's internet footprint. Many people undermine the impacts and consequences of posting things in the heat of the moment or harmless comments which could eventually cost them their jobs by thinking that they are protected under the broad and ambiguous term of freedom of speech. Luckily, we have finally started to figure some stuff out with bees. The EPA finally admitted that a certain pesticide, the most used pesticide in the country, IAC, is probably a major cause of CCD colony collapse disorder, and the decline in its use should lead to a rebound in their population. We also know about the mite problem and can treat it if the keeper is diligent. And I also saw a new invention that will allow beekeepers to avoid using mite pesticide to kill the mites in the hive. They'll be able to use sunlight instead. It's still a huge issue, but we're on the right track for now. The whole world realized that it would cost billions, if not trillions, of dollars to even attempt to replicate what bees do for us for free, and in a perfectly symbiotic way. Bees rule. Apparently the sunlight invention isn't as great as I thought, but the good thing is we know what some of the issues are and are addressing them actively. I went through a phase of depression in my late college years and can attest to the altered behavior of being alone a lot. I was fairly outgoing before, went out every weekend with friend roommates, was on the school paper, pretty active all around. When I started spending stretches of days entirely alone, it almost felt like what I imagine Asperger's or autism feels like, no offense to people that are actually diagnosed. I had a harder time gauging small social cues, appropriatiness of things, etc. Granted, this was possibly exacerbated by constantly smoking weed at the time, as well. I just generally felt off and anxious around people that I had previously been close with. Luckily, I pulled myself out of the tailspin and am happily married and have an active social life. Remember that humans are social creatures. It's okay to be introverted, but spending too much time alone can definitely be harmful to mental well-being.
I turned 36 this year, and I decided to focus on my physical fitness, so I bought a swim club membership. The only problem was, most of the time when I go swimming, I wind up getting an ear infection. So it turns out that normal earplugs, they kind of irritate your ear canal. They don't really work. They don't keep the water out. But there is an amazing kind of earplug called Mack's Pillow Soft Silicone earplugs that, they feel great. They keep the water out 100%. They're reusable and they don't irritate your ear canal at all. No issues. If you've ever had a severe ear infection, you don't want to experience that again. It can permanently damage your hearing if you're unlucky. So investing in these earplugs is definitely a good idea. Also, when my baby was crying later this year and I could not get to sleep, I used the same earplugs and they worked great. I was able to sleep right next to a crying baby. So be sure to click my affiliate link and purchase some of these Mack's earplugs today.